In previous videos, we've talked about the basics of multi-threading in C++. In this video, I want to go over what is a mutex, why do we need a mutex, how does a mutex fix a certain class of problems that are prevalent in multi-threaded code, and also how you might have to be careful when you're using a mutex, because they can have some performance considerations. First of all, a mutex essentially means mutual exclusion. If you remember in grade school, you may have learned about the Venn diagram, where there's like these two circles that are overlapping. Just imagine mutual exclusion to be that those two circles are not intersecting at all. So the question is, why do we have this idea of mutual exclusion, and why is it important in multi-threaded code? The main reason that we need to worry about mutexes is that multi-threading in C++ allows you to use the multiple cores on your CPU and to kind of increase the performance of your code, but there might be a race condition which can cause data corruption. In order to prevent these types of issues, you're going to need to use a mutex that can lock and unlock certain parts of the data to prevent this. And the best way to see this is with some code. Suppose I've got a global variable shared among the various threads, and both of these threads run the function increment counter. And what increment counter does is it just increments the counter by 1,000,000. The question is, what do you think happens when you run this code? Now, before we go through the threaded code, let's just think about what would happen if we ran the code without using multi-threading at all. Well, this would be very straightforward. The answer would be that the increment counter would get incremented by 1,000,000 two times separately, so the result would be that the counter would be equal to 2,000,000. But what happens when you run this in two separate threads? So I'm going to do a make run, and at the start of the program, the count is equal to 0, and at the end, it's equal to not 2,000,000. Well, let's run it again. And this time, it's once again not equal to 2,000,000, but it's a different number this time, and so on and so forth. Essentially, as you keep running this program, what you're going to realize is that the data has been corrupted, and that is because there is a race condition. The race condition happens in this line of code when we're incrementing the counter. If you guys don't know, the counter plus plus operation, it's not a single line of assembly, it's multiple lines of assembly, and so inside this for loop, there is a race happening between these two threads. Maybe one CPU is loading the current value of the thread, and the other CPU also loads that current value at the same time, and let's just say that they both increment that value and put the result in. The counter in this case would not be incremented two times, it would only be incremented once. But what you really want is when this counter operation is getting incremented, you want the thread to kind of place a lock on this, right? And that's where mutexes come in. The first thing you're going to want to do is include mutex and then create a mutex like so. So I've created a specific counter mutex, and you want to write counter mutex.lock and counter mutex.unlock. It basically ensures that if there are two threads that are trying to run this for loop, for example, this lock will make sure that as long as the first thread is using this, the second thread will not be able to run this. And if the second thread is using this, then the first thread will not be able to use this, right? It's almost like you're telling a coworker, like, hey, look, I'm going to work on this part of the code base. Just don't work on that part of the code base because I don't want to have merge conflicts, right? Because essentially multi-threaded code is essentially having a merge conflict. And this lock is just saying, well, in order to prevent the merge conflict, I'm just going to prevent the other thread from making any changes to the data that's getting modified here because I know that somebody else is working on it. So now if we make run, every single time you're going to see that the start count is 0 and the end count is 2,000,000. This is exactly what we want to happen. But at the same time, you actually need to be careful about mutexes. In this case, I'm putting the mutex outside of this for loop. Well, do I need to really place it outside this for loop? I mean, realistically, the only thing that I need to do is place this mutex outside of this counter, right? And this comes to kind of the second important thing about mutexes, is that while you probably want to place a mutex kind of at the lowest level possible, it can also have some performance considerations. Because if you lock and unlock, lock and unlock, lock and unlock every single time in this million for loop, that actually might make your program run slower, because maybe the T2 is locking it, T2, does 2 iterations, and then T2 unlocks, and then T1 is locking it, then, T1 unlocks, and then T2 is locking it. Like, you can imagine that as you keep going, it might actually be slower. And in order to show this, I'm just going to create a simple time elapsed variable. So when I put the look right outside of the counter inside the for loop, it's taking about 92 milliseconds to increment the variables. Okay, so about 90 to 100 milliseconds. Now let's see what happens if we lock and unlock outside of the for loop. And so now you can see that the function is way faster. The first time it ran 4 milliseconds, then 5 milliseconds, then 5 milliseconds, and then another 5 milliseconds. So essentially, when we put the mutex inside of this for loop, the program ran about 20 times slower in the multi-threaded code. So that's something to be aware of. And by just moving the mutex out of the loop, we were able to get the program to be, 5 milliseconds, whereas before it was about 100 milliseconds. So as you can see, that is one consideration with when you're using a mutex. There is another thing that you could do if you're just trying to increment variables. It's called using an atomic, and that allows you to not have to do this locking and unlocking, because I believe it uses hardware primitives to ensure that this counter plus plus operation is just one line of assembly. Maybe I'll talk about that in another video. And yeah, that's what I want to talk about in this video. Just kind of like that general introduction to mutexes. If you made it this far, hit the like button and consider subscribing for more random C++ content just like this. And if you want to sponsor the channel, just send me an email. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time.